Well, good morning, Chicago, and welcome to Donley Auctions Radio Hour, broadcasting here on WWII. I'm Mike.
And I'm Randy Donley, and we're coming to you from our auction headquarters right here in Union, Illinois, just northwest of Chicago.
We are Donley Auctions. That's Donley. And for decades, we've been auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, and veterans of the vintage.
But we're not just any auction house. We are specialists in high-end valuable collections. I mean, we're the experts that you can call for rare firearms and military, coin-operated machines or classic vehicles, gas station memorabilia, old advertising, but we're looking for the best of the best.
And that's what this show is all about. For the next hour, we're inviting you to join us in Chasing History. We're going to explore the incredible stories behind these items and help you discover the hidden treasures you might have in your own attic or garage.
We'll tell you what's hot, what's not, how you can consign your valuable items with us, because of our global audience ensures that you're going to get the true value for your collection. So, Mike, one thing I'd like to start by reminding our listeners out there is what's really happening in collecting world today, and that is this. What we have learned, folks, is that collecting as we knew it is over. I mean, the old days of collecting and what we would say going antiquing on weekends and everything, that all turned out to be a generational thing.
Yeah, it's all just about the internet right now.
Without a doubt. But do you remember back in the day, I mean, every weekend our parents would drag us along as kids. I mean, get in the car, we'd have to go antiquing, antique shop after antique shop. And what was amazing is there were whole cities that were just lined up with antique shops. Mm-hmm. Like, remember Long Grove and Richmond, Illinois?
Yep, absolutely. And that all kind of evolved then into the flea markets. Remember all the different flea markets that we would go to?
So if you think about that, folks, if you're familiar with these cities and you understand how they have just kind of, fallen apart as far as being antique centers, you'll understand that's really kind of what has happened with all of these hobbies at the same time, and that is this. Collecting was a generational thing. Collecting, as Mike and I knew it, the type of things we're going to be talking about, was a generational thing. As the generation got older, now these collections are all coming on the market. All these old-timers, people that are in their 80s, 90s, or they've passed away and we're helping settle estates, those kind of big collections of antique Nickelodeons, music boxes, phonographs, all these huge collections. They're just all flooding on the market.
And one of the big things we're here to talk about today too is guns. I mean that's a good part of our business here. What we do is help people liquidate the gun collections. And
I would have to say, Mike, that's probably a full 1/3 of Donley Auctions business is guns and military relics.
When we talk about guns and the legality of owning guns and such today, I mean, that's how we can help you out the most. We are federally licensed firearms dealers, and we can help you sell your guns in the correct way legally, so all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed when it comes to the paperwork on them, because it is a bit of a process. So.
You bet. So when we're referring to an FFL, which is our license, that's Federal Firearms License. We're licensed firearms dealers. So again, we can help you sell these type of things legally. Make sure you're making no mistakes in how you're going about selling it, because, there's some pretty strict laws, especially in certain states like Illinois is one of the tougher laws for gun laws and registrations.
You know how you go about selling them. And, so many times, as you know, Randy, what happens is a husband will pass away and the wife will be left with the task of liquidating this gun collection. And most times she doesn't realize the value of what she has there. And so often we see it, and it's a shame where, people come in and end up giving her very little for what the true value of these firearms are, because in most cases, the husband never told his wife what he was spending on these guns.
That's right. How many times do guys even say to us, even now, God, I hope my wife doesn't sell these guns for what I told her I paid for
Right.
them.
And
That's an ongoing joke.
And I mean, unless you're into this, I mean, for a woman who's uneducated in firearms, one pistol looks like the other, and it can be a $50 pistol or it could be a $5,000 pistol. Just
Easily,
that easy.
Easily, you're so right, and yeah, again, we see that happen all the time. But folks, also it's not just guns. A lot of times people call us, and we're working on a hoarder house right now full of ammunition. Oh my goodness, what this person was buying all this ammo for, who knows? He was getting ready for Armageddon, I swear to God. But just tens of thousands of rounds of ammunition stored in this house that we're cleaning out right now. But we can turn it all into cash. One of our taglines is, we make it fit in your wallet. Well, that's no joke with all this ammunition, just because it'll go for really good money. It was stored properly, and it's as good as being brand new.
Yeah, and it is very sought after, especially calibers to more obscure guns that they may have stopped manufacturing for antique weapons and such. It can bring a premium. So if you have any of these items, guns, ammunition, any military knife collections, I mean, if you have to liquidate these type of collections, give us a call. I mean, we can tell you what the items are worth, what you're going to expect to get from. We can handle the process totally, from picking it up, inventorying it, and getting it sold for you.
A lot of our past radio shows, we've been talking about the auction process itself and what we're selling and everything, because we've had some recent auctions coming up. But today, folks, we're really going to be hammering on the fact that right now we're looking for merchandise for the next auctions. So as Mike said, one big push coming up is guns and military relics. And we're always looking for military uniforms. One of the things that we're always talking about is military relics. What are military relics? Well, anything that was used during the war, as far as uniforms and insignia and weapons from the war, certainly daggers and swords and everything. But some of the most prized items are what we refer to as war trophies that veterans brought home from their conflict fighting overseas, especially World War II. So German items, German uniforms, German insignia, medals, helmets. My goodness, Mike, do you remember back in the day, again, when we were pre-teens and collecting military relics, you could buy a German helmet for anywhere from $5 to $25. And today, what are helmets going for?
Oh,
just crazy money.
Low hundreds up into the tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands of dollars, folks, for certain German helmets. So that's why we are constantly telling you, please call us so that we can identify which items are valuable for you. And we use this expression all the time. It's like checking out your lottery tickets. You don't want to throw away a lottery ticket or just guess what it might be worth before you turn it in. And so here you go. Call us. Call us at 815-923-7000 or go to our website at DonleyAuctions.com. I mean, it's very simple. As Mike said earlier, Donley is spelled Donley. Consign at Donley Auctions with an S.com gets you right to the proper people. Once an email comes in, they'll take photos that you sent us and your letter and bring it right to Mike and I. And I mean, we can literally get back to you the same day. We're actually leaving tomorrow to go look at a collection that somebody did exactly what we're asking you to do. We say, we say this all the time, contact us and that. So somebody did contact us from Indiana with a large collection that Mike and I are taking the trip out to look at a collection. And you're under no obligation. we're not coming in trying to strong arm somebody into selling their merchandise. What we're doing is we're giving it a general assessment. We'll give you our thoughts about how to sell it, how we would market it, and what we believe that you could probably get for it, at auction. And, we say this all the time. You are definitely going to get more at auction than you're going to get selling it outright, because we have a worldwide audience. And I'm talking worldwide. We're selling stuff all over the globe, especially when we're dealing with items like military relics and uniforms and insignia and that from World War II especially.
Yeah, and you're talking about helmets and things. A lot of people, okay, they may look at a German helmet and know what a typical German helmet looks like, but something like a paratrooper helmet or a motorcycle helmet looks totally different. And those are the ones that can bring thousands of dollars, and somebody would look at that and just think it's a junk helmet and sell it for $25.
I got a quick story on that, Mike. Always the stories, folks. Well, years and years ago, I certainly wasn't more than 14 years old, and my father and I were at a flea market. And there was a bunch of helmets all lined up on the on somebody's table, and I'm looking at them and everything. And the helmets weren't much money. They were $10, $12, $15 a piece. And I'll never forget, I had one in my hands that I had never seen the shape of before. You're talking about a paratrooper helmet. And yes, I had a German paratrooper helmet in my hands, and I'm looking at it, and the man selling it tells me it's $10. But I don't recognize it because it's a little bit different shape. And I'll never forget setting it down and somebody's arm reaching out so fast and just grabbing it away and buying it. Well, as I did my research that evening, I realized that what I set back down on the table was, in fact, a German paratrooper helmet, which even then, even all those years ago, it was being sold for $10, and back then it was already worth about $200, but I didn't recognize it at the time. I wasn't sharp enough, and somebody else got the deal because I didn't know.
What's a good paratrooper helmet go for today?
Well, absolute junk. Absolute junk would start at $1,500, but we recently sold one for $8,500. Here at Donley Auction, and certain ones, depending, could hit 15,000.
Yeah, it's just amazing what military souvenirs are still bringing. It's probably one of the strongest collectibles out there right now, wouldn't you say?
It really is, and one of the big reasons that German, especially, is so expensive and popular is because back in Germany, you can now actually buy war souvenirs again right in the country, because for years and years, so many years after the war, German relics were outlawed.
And a lot of them destroyed, just outright destroyed after the war.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
whatever was there was what was sent back home. That was
and they couldn't own it. They couldn't own it. So it was all brought, overseas here into the United States, the most of it. Now, a lot of it's all going back home.
So if you have any of these types of things, maybe a parent has passed away or a grandfather has passed away, and you've run across his footlocker full of these items, give us a call. Take some pictures and give us a call, because you could be sitting on a lot of money.
And you mentioned the word footlocker. It is not at all unusual for us to go into a home, and there is, in fact, the footlocker that hasn't been open in 40, 50 years, where a GI came home, brought his uniforms home, and packed everything neatly away in the footlocker. But along with that were his war trophies, his war souvenirs that he brought home, and we find daggers. Oh, my goodness. Daggers have become, again, so expensive. World War II German daggers, especially those of the SS troops, mm-hmm. and many others. Some of the political daggers and everything are extremely, extremely valuable.
Yeah, no, Lugers bring anywhere from 1,000 on up now. I mean, you used to be able to buy those for $50 when we were younger. But now, yeah, minimum of $1,000 goes up from there. The Mauser pistols are good. I mean, there's a lot of expensive stuff.
Yeah. Mike, and it's not just, of course, the German or Japanese war trophies. We haven't talked about Japanese yet, but I wanted to just bring up, because we just recently acquired a heart-stopping flight jacket, a World War II brown leather flight jacket that was used by American aviators. Flight jackets, folks, can bring, again, just crazy good money. We've mentioned this on the air before, and that is the pilots and crew. They were not theoretically allowed to paint their jackets, but they did. They became like a club. A crew would paint the logo on their airplane, whatever they named their airplane. They would paint that and have in many cases, like cartoon characters. But also, they would sometimes paint naked ladies on the side of their plane. And then the whole crew would paint their flight jackets to match the aircraft. Well, those kind of flight jackets, all painted up with bombers on the back or comic characters or even naked ladies, are just crazy, crazy money. Why did they get away with it?
Because of the average lifespan of a bomber crew was just a couple of weeks.
A couple weeks, folks. Imagine that. All these people fighting for us for the freedoms we have today. And if you were a flight crew on a fighter plane or a bomber during World War II, your life expectancy in combat was only a few weeks. Wow.
So they gave them some latitude, knowing that chances are most of them weren't going to survive.
They weren't about to tell them, no, you can't paint your jackets. They were happy that they were getting back in those planes. Years ago, I bought a flight jacket, and a gentleman had all these missions on the back of his jacket. I think he had, like 35 missions, and he said he was a ball turret gunner.
Johnny,
I'm not going to mention the last name, but Johnny, I met him at a shopping mall once. We were set up doing an antique show. And Johnny sold me his flight jacket. He was a ball turret gunner. And he said on his very first flight, shrapnel came whipping through the ball turret, and he was wounded, bleeding profusely. They made it back, and he was saved. He said, I thought I was going home. He said, I was a teenager. He said, I was 17 years old. He said, scared to death. He said, I'm shot. I thought I was going home. He said, they patched me back up. And 2 weeks later, I'm back in the airplane and doing what I do. And he said, after 25 missions, I could have gone home. He said, but by that time, I was into it. And he had actually gotten wounded 3 times over the course of his tenure, and instead of going home after 25 missions, ended up flying 35 missions, Mike. Wow.
And the ball turret gunner, for those who don't know what that position is, it's literally a rotating ball mounted on the bottom of the bomber. And to get in it, you had to like cramp yourself into a squatting position. You had to be little to begin with to get into that ball turret. And once you were in there, they would bolt the hatch shut, so there was no way to escape quickly.
You're sitting in plexiglass.
In plexiglass,
just a clear plexiglass ball on the bottom of a bomber. Oh my God.
Yeah, there were stories of guys where their landing gear was damaged and they couldn't get the guy out of the ball turret gunner, and they took the planes and landed the planes.
I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible. But it was war.
It's war.
It was war. So those are, folks, just a few of the type of things that we're looking for right now. Military relics of all kinds. I said we didn't mention Japanese relics. All the people who fought in the conflict with Japan certainly is probably the most prized possession that an American coming home from the Japanese conflict would have was the famous samurai swords.
Correct.
Wow. Samurai swords were actually handed down, most of them were handed down through generations, hundreds of years in families, and then, of course, worn proudly by Japanese soldiers. Their family heritage, was all part of this sword. And it was, again, a real prize for an American GI to send home. So, of course, samurai swords today are exceedingly collectible, but all Japanese swords are. Japanese swords and daggers and uniforms, anything that was brought home, and, of course, flags. We rarely talk about flags, but flags are very, very collectible.
And don't forget the guys who fought on our side, the Marines. Some of the Marine uniforms and Marine helmets that fought in the island campaigns. I mean, some of those, especially if they have good provenance of some of the battles, like an Iwo Jima helmet, is going to bring a lot of money compared to a guy who, showed up later.
Mike, over the years, back when I was collecting for so many years, I've been a collector for literally over 50 years now, folks. I've collected military relics for years and years. But it surprised me when you mentioned Iwo Jima, how many GIs, instead of bringing home swords or daggers or these type of things, they would bring home sand. Mm-hmm. They would collect sand from their landing.
The black sand, that volcanic sand.
It's just amazing to me how many times I've run into GIs that have given me jars of sand.
And after there was nothing left to collect there were guys that were carving coconuts. We've seen those. And selling them to other Marines and such, and the little souvenirs that they were making. Artists were painting things and selling it to other guys. And
crazy good stuff. Yep. Crazy good stuff.
So anything you have military, whether it be Second World War is the most popular. Vietnam is getting better as far as collectibles. First World War is okay, depending on what it is.
First World War is kind of odd because as far as collecting goes, it was almost like that forgotten collectible period of time because Civil War back from the 1860s was so popular before World War I and certainly World War II. But from the 1860s, Civil War was always popular, collecting both Union and Confederate relics. And then after World War I, the collecting seemed to die down and then just took a big hold after World War II. Mm-hmm. So even though there are collectors for World War I, not so much.
And very little for Korean War.
Oh, almost nothing. Isn't it sad? But that was a very short conflict.
Yeah, but and a lot of it was leftover World War II items as far as the combat stuff. And they're really the Chinese that they were fighting there, and the Koreans didn't have the uniforms or accoutrement that the Germans or the Japanese had.
They weren't very decorative.
No,
correct. Yeah,
so there was very little to collect from that war.
Very little show.
And in Civil War, going back to Civil War, I mean, there's a lot of collections coming on the market for that, and that's it's kind of a depressed market on the military right now. It's a tough market to get the money you could have 20 years ago or 30 years ago when the Civil War series was on TV. I mean, that really reignited it for a while. But
although I have to say, Mike, last December we had a big collection, and we set some pretty good prices. I mean, I remember a flag alone going for over $40,000.
Well, that was a special collection. That man had always collected the best of the best, and it was a once in a lifetime collection. So it brought a lot of guys out of the woodwork who were still the high-end collectors.
Even a great pistol.
The LeMat pistol.
A LeMat, yeah. What'd that go for, like $45,000?
I think $45,000.
Wow.
Then just, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago, didn't we sell the Civil War grouping from the man that was died of his wounds from Gettysburg and such? And that was great because that was in the family the whole time. And when that was sold. We do have another one we just got in from a man who was a Confederate soldier, and he was captured by the Union Army and was forced to sign his allegiance to the Union Army and fought for the Union side. And we have all his diary and all of his letters he wrote home. So that's another great grouping that's going to be coming up.
Yeah. Now, we don't have a date for the next Civil War auction, so if you do have anything Civil War relics, give us a call. at 815-923-7000, or again, consign. Go to email us at consign@donleyauctions.com, and that is Donley spelled Donley, consign@donleyauctions.com.
And remember, we do this to help you out. There's no charge for us to give you an opinion on what we believe your items can bring. So just text us a picture. Take a picture with your phone and shoot it off to us, and we'll get back to you right away. As Randy said, most times the same day or the same afternoon, we can get right back to you on it.
Right now, we're going to be taking a short break, so stay tuned. I'm Randy Donley, here with Mike Donley, and Susan should be joining us for the second segment. You'll be coming back to listen to more of the Donley Auctions Hour on WLS 890 AM. What would you like to hear us talk about on the Donley Auctions Hour? Give us a call at 815-923-7000.
Welcome back to the Donley Auctions Hour on WLS AM 890. Hi, I'm Susan. Sorry I missed that last segment, but I did not miss those stories. Wow, you guys have got some great stories. I love hearing the Donley brothers share that information from their childhood and about those great collections that we have coming in. So what else you got?
Well, speaking of great collections, I hope everybody out there can also go to our website and look at our podcasts, because we just went to look at some military relics at a farm right down the road where a gentleman is, in fact, restoring a B-17 bomber. Yes, folks, he is restoring a B-17
Is
in
that
his
what's
barn.
in the hangar down there?
That's correct.
Down the road? Okay.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Is it in parts or is it put together? What is he
it's
doing
getting
with
put
it?
together, yeah. But he actually called us to consign some relics to our big collection we've got coming up, the D-Day collection, which
Yep.
is in what month?
That's in February. It's actually on February 7th. Remember, we have the big banister collection coming in, so we're going to add those items to that. February 7th, folks.
So as you'll see, if you go to the podcast, you're going to see that he's consigned a few really unique pieces, one being a flight training simulator, which looks like a little miniature airplane that one person would get in. All the pilots from World War II had to get into the simulator so that they could learn how to use the instruments in their aircraft. So that's a very interesting piece. And then, of course, he has a wing, a partial piece of a wing off of a bomber made into a desk.
That's pretty cool. I saw that.
I'd love
That's
to
really
see
neat.
that.
That is really neat. So if you have items to add to our big D-Day collection, we're looking for real items from D-Day. We're looking for uniforms. We're looking for maps. We're looking for anything that actually was at D-Day. And if you have anything in vehicles, I just mentioned we went and looked at a bomber. The bomber wasn't for sale, but, we run into people with Jeeps. We sell a lot of Jeeps here. We're always looking for Jeeps and trucks and tanks. We can sell tanks for you. We do have what's called a Class 3 dealer's license so that we can sell machine guns, tanks, cannons. And if you're an attorney is settling any big estates with big items like this, or if you are in charge of trying to liquidate things out of a municipality or a park where you'd like to get some of these items moved out of the parks, let us know, because we can turn it into cash for you and help your bottom line.
Let me just remind our listeners, our phone number is 815-923-7000. That's 815-923-7000. Give us a call, or you can email us at consign@donleyauctions.com. We'd love to hear from you.
We've talked a lot about military relics right now, so I'd like to kind of change the subject. There's so many things we're looking for, but one category that we're really looking for, because Mike is staging an auction right now, is early theater memorabilia, items from theaters and movie houses and projection equipment. Mike, give us a list of some of the things you'd like to acquire.
Well, Chicago was actually home to the movie industry back in the silent era. You had some of the big studios here. S&A, of course, everybody knows was here. I think Selig was here. There were several big movie studios that started right here in Chicago. And then there was also the great movie palaces of Chicago. I mean, the Chicago Theater itself is still standing and operating. But places like the Oriental, the State Lake, the Woods, the Roosevelt. I mean, there's a lot of the great theaters, the United Artists. They're all gone. But as they got taken down, people were taking souvenirs out of there, whether it be light fixtures or chandeliers or some of the statuary, segments of the railing, any bronze work in there. So that stuff is still squirreled away in a lot of homes in Chicago. So right now is a good time to consign that to us because of we're staging this movie memorabilia auction, and it's going to attract world attention again because of everything coming out of Chicago here. So
one really interesting piece I saw that came in the other day, and I forget, maybe you remember what theater it came out of, was that fabulous Newell post.
Oh yeah, that came out of the Paradise Theater.
Wow.
That was on the south side of Chicago, the Paradise. One of the great. I mean, if you looked it up online, it was just when they talk about movie palaces, the Paradise Theater was it. So yeah, an actual Newell post out of there, which is a Newell post is like the bottom of a staircase. It's the post that the railing is the bottom of the railing at the foot of the staircase. Just magnificent piece. It was in the form of a ram's head, I believe.
Yeah.
But anything, projectors, cameras, old hand crank cameras, movie posters, even movie posters up until the 70s and 80s. Star Wars movie posters are bringing good. I mean, if you have anything back in the golden age, like Gone with the Wind or Frankenstein or anything like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
speaking of Gone with the Wind, remember that movie projector we had that
we
filmed
we had
Gone with the Wind? Do you remember where it went?
we had one of the Technicolor cameras that actually filmed Gone with the Wind, and it went to the Champs Roy Museum in Seoul, South Korea.
Wow.
Yes, it left the
Yeah.
country.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we keep telling you, folks. We sell items all over the world. We're going to get you top dollar for your treasures, and that's our job for you, is to get the best money that we can for these collections that your family has cherished over the years. They've collected items up, and now it's time to move these along and pass them on to the next generation of collectors. That's how we can help. So I think you've got a big Native American auction coming up.
Oh, that's coming up next. Yeah, November 22nd. Mike, I see it all out in our auction hall right now. It looks great.
Yeah, I think the auction is just going online this week too, so check it out at donleyauctions.com. But yeah, we have a few big collections in there. There's one that came out of Madison, Wisconsin. It was a retired professor from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, history professor, and his lifetime collection, just fantastic Native American items. We have a collection of mission-style furniture, which people use that to decorate when they're decorating with Native American and Western Americana. It's a very specific type of furniture. Go up and take a look at that, because a lot of you might have some of that at home. It was popular in the early 1900s, usually made of oak.
Are you still taking consignments for that auction, or
closed? It's closed, but we've had such a great response from people. We're already staging our next one.
Okay,
So
good to know.
I've got a collection. I've got to go to Iowa to pick up. I've got a collection, another Wisconsin
Never too late,
collection.
yeah.
But also,
Great.
we're going to be liquidating a lot of our Wild West Town collection here too. So a lot of you who came here over the years and saw the Western collections in the museum, a lot of that is going to be in this auction, including
I just have a question. Can
Yeah.
you guys do the jingle from Donley's Wild West?
Donley's Wild West, Donley's Wild West, Donley's Wild West Town.
Do-do-do.
Thank you. So make sure you remembered it.
Don't make me sing it.
Don't make me sing it. All right, just making sure. But that's coming up November 22nd. Some great items. What's your favorite item from that collection?
Oh man,
There's a lot to choose from. I know it's the
There's
real deal.
so much.
I'm going to jump
Is it
in
gonna
there
be
and
hard
say,
to let it go,
You
huh?
mentioned the Wild West collection. I really like that buckskin outfit, Native American complete outfit with a headdress and all from the 101 Ranch.
Yeah, the Wild West show, the 101 Ranch Wild West show. That was magnificent. In fact, I remember I got that up in a little antique store up in Georgetown, Colorado, way up in the mountains.
About 40 years ago.
Yeah, and a woman had just brought it in. It was her father's. Wow. And
yeah, talk about provenance. You guys have all the stories with all these items.
You're going to love this one, Susan. My dad and I, years ago, were buying an antique phonograph off of a woman here in Chicago. And she pulled out an old headdress and everything and said that her grandfather actually was a Native American, was proudly in parades in the city of Chicago. And so she pulls out the trunk of clothing, and I'll never forget my father saying, wait a minute. And there were a pair of like blue, almost like a felt pair of pants. And my father said, Indians didn't wear pants. No, thanks. I think this is fake.
Oh, my gosh.
Little did we know we weren't big Native American collectors at that time. Scarce as hen's teeth, this whole outfit, and we could have had it all back, years and
so
years ago.
So we didn't take it?
Here in the Wild West.
Oh,
no.
My gosh,
my father just
Larry Donley stories.
assessed that it wasn't for us, and we bought the phonographs and moved on.
I'll be darned.
So you missed some.
So if you have a collection, again, if you have items you have collected over the years, or you've inherited collection, or one you have to liquidate from someone who's passed, give me a call, because I'd be happy to help you out. Some of these items can be worth a lot of money. I mean, little trinkets that you may not pay any attention to, little baskets or little beaded items and stuff like that, can be into thousands of dollars.
Yeah, you're so right, Mike. And we say all the time, all it takes is if you could send us some photographs, we can give you a really great idea of our opinions, what these items are worth.
And I just want to invite all of our listeners to come on out to our auction on November 22nd. The items that we have here, you really have to see them. I just think our photographs are great. Our photographs are online. They look fabulous. But to actually come see these items in person, come on out to Union, Illinois. The preview for this auction will be on Friday, November 21st, from noon until 7 p.m. Come on out, take a look, and then you can go home and bid online if you'd like to, but we'd love for you to come on out and see our place.
I do want to point out that we are not open on a daily basis for the public without an appointment. So if you are planning on coming here normally, with the exception of auction times, as you say, when we've got viewing days, if you need to come out and actually see us in person, you will need an appointment to do that. Very easy to do.
And just give us a call at 815-923-7000 for more information, and we would love to see you at the auction on November 22nd.
I was surprised of some of the items in this collection that we're staging right now, this Wild West and Native American, because I saw in there was some very, very early currency, American currency with buffaloes on them, and actually a Native American Indian figure on the American bill. And that brings us into a whole different field of collecting that we do sell here, and that is coins and currency. So, Mike, I saw you had some currency in this auction, but currency normally would be in a whole different auction, folks. So if you've got coins out there, coins and valuable metals, anything in gold and silver, you definitely want to give us a call so that we can help you get top dollar for your items.
Which we just did at the October Fall Classic. We had an entire day of coins and jewelry, everything sold for top dollar, folks. Definitely give us a call at 815-923-7000, and we'll put you in touch with Ryan, our coin specialist, and he would love to set up an appointment with you, meet with you, talk with you on the phone, tell you what you have, and tell you what to do next.
Ryan also does sports too. I mean,
sports is huge. Sports is hot right now.
Oh,
wow!
How many people have brought in their boxes of sports cards and trading cards from when they were kids? And
he really wants the cards for
blows
sure.
them away with the prices they're getting for them.
It is amazing what some of this stuff goes for. And again, we're in so many different fields. It's hard in an hour to talk about all the items that we're looking for. But we just got a phone call, actually yesterday, on a large car collection. Automobiles.
Okay, what kind of cars? I want to hear more.
Automobiles. Well, I haven't seen the collection yet, but they said there's about 40 automobiles, and we actually may be doing that collection off-site, Susan.
Okay.
So I will point out that if you've got, really big collections that can't be moved here, very often we will go out of state and sell items.
Is it in Hawaii by any chance?
Not yet.
Sedona? No? Okay. It's all
But
right.
as you know, next week I'm running out to Florida. I mean, that's
Okay, yeah.
pretty good. We're probably going to bring that collection, music machines. We'll probably bring that collection here from Florida.
But do the
transported
cars
here.
out of state on site. Okay, got it.
And folks,
stay tuned for that.
Those of you out of state sometimes are thinking, well, wait a minute, they're in Chicago. They're not going to come all the way out here and they'd never move the stuff. No, you're wrong. We actually do that all the time. And
Yes, we do.
The first step would be Mike and I, or Mike or I, actually fly out. We assess the collection. We make the deal with you to consign your collection to bring it here. And then what we'll do very often is fly our crew out to your state so we can acquire your collection, and we'll rent our trucks one way and bring your collection from your state to our location and sell it here. That way, your property is ready for the real estate very quickly. We can be in and out in a week.
Randy, you had mentioned earlier that we're in need of merchandise right now, and we really are, because we're at the end of an auction year and we're planning out our calendar already for next year. So we have a lot of auctions coming up in a lot of categories. So we need you to send us pictures of what you have for sale that you'd like to get rid
well
of.
said, Mike. I'm glad you brought that up, because we really need to let our audience know that selling at auction isn't as simple as a phone call, we come and get it, and next week your item is sold. It very often takes months to get your items up at auction, because the auction date has to be planned. Everything has to be photographed. Everything needs to be described. And then when we're online, we want to be online for at least a month promoting and advertising your items, because our job, again, is to get you top dollar. And that's not the quick and easy sale of we get it and sell it in a week. We need to really promote it and get you thousands of eyes making a decision what they want to pay for your items.
And as you can tell, our auctions are themed. They're based around the collections that we have: military, firearms, movie memorabilia,
coin
coins.
op.
Yeah, so that way we get the right eyes, the right market of people looking at the items that they're interested in. Now, once in a while, I will throw out a general antiques auction, which I'm going to do in December, by the way. So stay tuned for more on that, which is just a collaboration of lots of things. And I'll be talking about that in future radio shows as well. But for now, coming up in December and every month so far next year, I would say all the way up until August, we have one very good themed auction a month ready to go.
It's interesting, too, that you would bring up the theming of an auction, because we have a big collection consigned to us in Chicago, South Side. And we kind of refer to it as a honey hole because it's all such great stuff. But the auction was so eclectic that for one auction, it was just too much different items. So we've actually been going back and forth for the last year, bringing the right items out for the right auctions. This particular family was in no hurry to sell this collection, so we've been doing it slow and easy, bringing in just the right items. When we have an advertising auction, we go there, get their advertising items. When we have a toy auction, we go get the toys out of this building. And we've been doing that. And as a matter of fact, I'm glad I'm even talking about this right now, because we've got to go back for some cars. Isn't there a Cadillac and a couple of Model Ts
nice.
in the garage there?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have more cars coming up also next year, if not this year yet. We'll see.
Always looking for cars. And with cars, there's just so many different areas, because, Mike, you've become quite the specialist in license plates.
I was just going to mention the license plates.
Well, we have
that auction is already scheduled.
we have that one that's coming up.
March 5th.
March 5th, and I have quite a few.
You have some great items in that
good
one.
plates in there. A lot of Illinois stuff. In fact, we just acquired the governor's plates from the George Ryan era.
Oh.
We have his plates, the Secretary of State plates, so that's going to be coming up in that auction. We have a lot of early Illinois plates, from the teens up until we have what are called a run, actually, from the teens up until I think it goes up into the 50s of the
Those
same.
are pretty low digits. That's like a three-digit serial number.
Yeah. We have some great Cicero plates, Cicero ID vehicle tag plates there. It's just going to be a great auction. So if you have anything in license plates from any state, I mean, the earlier the better. Things that from the past the 1960s isn't so collectible, unless it would be a very low digit or a specialty plate or a really neat vanity plate. But the earlier the better. There's people just hot for that stuff.
Yeah, and that auction's going to be online only, so it's not going to typically be live here with an audience, but we'll have everything online.
And still thousands of people
everybody
buying.
can just bid from home on that one. And then we also have our next coin op and slot machine auction coming up next May. So that one, we have a lot of different things: sports, coins, jewelry, slot machines, advertising, just a lot of great stuff.
It's funny, Mike, you brought up, you have Cicero license plates, and right away people think Cicero license plates, the gangster era, for the 1920s, the roaring 20s and everything. Cicero just has that reputation, and Cicero items really do well. But that whole gangster era is also very collectible. I mean, that whole 1920s theme. Do we have a gangster auction specifically coming up? If not, we'd certainly like to hear from you if you've got anything that can be, everybody claims they've got Al Capone this and Al Capone that. Well, certainly he wasn't the only famous a gangster from that period of time, and we're always looking for anything that...
And that's what we do. We got to wait for the right collection to come in so we can actually start and set a date for a themed auction. So let us know. Call us at 815-923-7000. If you have any of those items, we'd love to get them in an auction for you.
Also what I'm planning next year is a scientific, I call it Invention and Technology auction. So I'm looking for scientific instruments, cameras and photography, early telephone equipment, telegraph equipment, early typewriters, anything invention and technology from the just post-Civil War era up about till the 1920s. So if you have anything like that, give me a call because I'm putting together a collection now for that.
It's funny you would mention that because I was just thinking about that the other day. We had kind of a run of scientific instruments coming to us, and they were coming out of universities. Universities selling off collections, displays that they had, and old equipment and everything, and that kind of came to a stop. But remembering that, I want to point out that if you are a university or school that has any type of memorabilia you'd like to sell off, or a museum, we do an awful lot of business for museums who are selling off inventory that they have in storage that they need to get rid of. We're constantly helping out museums sell off collections.
One thing that I always love when we get in are patent models. Are we still looking for some patent models for an auction like that?
Yeah, for Invention and Technology, patent models are
those sell
right
really
at the top of the list. And what they are is patent models, for those not familiar with them, when the person was applying for a patent, they had to submit also drawings and a small model of what they were trying to patent. So it'll be a smaller little version. Whether, for instance, if it's a horse-drawn plow, you'd have to have a miniature plow that would go with that to show. So and that was required up until I think about the early 1900s when they stopped, where you had to have the patent models. But then the patent office sold off all the patent models at one time, so they are on the market and they're very, very collectible.
Yeah, definitely let us know.
You point that out. When the patent office sold off these models, somehow a large portion of them were acquired by Marshall Fields. And they were actually being sold off right here in Chicago by the Marshall Fields store.
Right.
What on earth was Marshall Field doing selling off patent models? But they were.
Yeah.
I mean, so a lot of that stuff, folks, ended up right here in the Chicago and suburb area.
Yeah, great. I love those little stoves. They have refrigerators. We had all kinds of stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's not unusual for patent models to bring $4,000 and $5,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Let us know. Send us an email. I'd love to see a photo of those. At consign@donleyauctions.com. That's consign, CONSIGN, at Donley, spelled DONLEY, auctions with an S.com.
Also, architecture.
Architecture, yeah, you like the big, heavy stuff off of
man,
buildings,
we're
terracotta,
always
and
looking for
corbels.
big, beautiful chandeliers and
Roman
and-
columns. Oh my gosh, the list goes on and on.
Yeah, I mean, we've been known to take terracotta off the buildings.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike, what was the front of a building that you took off like 12 stories of terracotta?
It was the Methodist Book Building in Chicago when they were tearing down Block 37. We took the whole 12-story front of the
Oh my
building
God,
off.
what'd you guys do with it?
We donated it to art museums all over the United States.
I'll be darned.
Yep.
I did
And-
not know that story.
And to that point, actually, there is a set of the terracotta off that building right in the fragment collection of the Art Institute,
The Art Institute, yeah.
in Chicago.
Yep.
With your name on it.
With my name on it, yeah.
I'll be darned.
There you
wow,
go.
you're famous. You're somebody.
We can't say it enough, folks. We need your merchandise for the next auctions. So,
That brings us to the end of another hour of the Donley Auctions Hour here every Sunday at 10 a.m. WLS AM 890. I'm your host, Susan. It's been a pleasure chasing history with you today. We've talked about some incredible items, but you need to give us a call at 815-923-7000 or send us an email at consign@Donley Auctions. Be sure to visit donleyauctions.com to see all of the upcoming auctions, especially that Cowboys and Indians catalog. It's growing every day. But for now, that's our show for this week. I'm Susan.
I'm Mike.
and I'm Randy Donley, and,
And
we'll
we'll
see you at the auction.